Good day, everyone. I am Gellie and Povadora from Group 6, and today we are going to present our topic, Asian Regionalism. We hope you learn and enjoy as we discuss the key ideas and importance of regional cooperation in Asia. So let's proceed to objectives. First, difference between regionalizations and globalization. Second, identify the factors leading to a greater integration of the Asian region. So, the objectives are to know the difference between regionalization and globalization and to identify the factors that lead to greater integration of the Asian region. So, ibawaan na tanala later kay discuss na sa atong among ka-groupmates. So, mag-proceed na ta sa what are regions. So first, regions are a group of countries located in the same geographically specified area. So the regions are groups of countries located in the same geographical area. Number 2, regions can be a combination of two regions. So number 3, regions can be combination of more than two regions organized that regulate and oversee flows and policy choices. So the regions can also be made up of more than two regions that work together to manage policies and activities. So let's proceed to Asian regionalism. Kaning nakita sa atong kaning na pictures, kaning na evolution of Asian regionalism, kaning na APEC, na Asian, kaning Asian Summit. So that are define that Asian regionalism means Asian countries cooperate to help each other politically and economically. Examples are the APEC, and East Asian Summit. So let's proceed. What is regionalism? Regionalism is created as a sort of counter globalization. Second is regional organizations will always prefer regional partners over the rest of the world. So regionalism means countries in the same area work together and prefer to help each other instead of other parts of the world. So let's proceed to what is regionalization. The process of dividing an area into smaller segments called regions. Division of a nation into states or province. In the economic context, regionalization is a management tool. So regionalization is dividing a big area into smaller parts called regions. It can mean dividing a country into provinces or states, and in economics, it helps manage trade or cooperation. So let's proceed the globalization. The expansion and intensification of social relations and consciousness across the world space and world time. It means that globalization is the connection of people and countries all over the world through trade, communication, and culture.
Good day, everyone. I will discuss the differences between regionalization and globalization. First, let's talk about their nature. So, globalization promotes the integration of economies across borders around the world, meaning countries become more connected through trade, technology, and culture, while regionalization divides an area into smaller segments, meaning mas focus lang siya sa usa ka rehiyon or group of countries. In short, globalization unites the world, while regionalization limits cooperation within nearby countries. Next is about the market. Globalization allows many corporations to trade international and promotes a free market. Daghan kaayo og opportunity sa negosyo og trading. On the other hand, regionalization makes monopolies more likely to develop. This means one producer can control the supply of goods or services and new producers have difficulty entering the market. So globalization encourages competition while regionalization sometimes limits it. For cultural and societal relations, globalization accelerates multiculturalism. People from different countries can easily travel, work, and share cultures. But regionalization does not really support multiculturalism since it focuses more on local or regional identity. In short, globalization opens door for cultural exchange, while regionalization keeps cultures for more separate. Next, let's move to aid. Under globalization, international communities are more willing to help countries affected by disasters. For example, kung naay calamity sa isa ka nasod, other countries can send donation and rescue teams. But in regionalization, a region that usually does not get involved in other areas' affairs, so less international help is expected. When it comes to technological advances, globalization has brought huge improvement in technology, like communication, transportation, and innovation. Meanwhile, regionalization has limited access to such technologies because advanced tools are usually concentrated in specific countries or regions. In short, globalization spreads technology while regionalization limits it within certain areas. Now let's define regional integration. It is a process where two or more nations agree to cooperate and work closely together to achieve peace, stability, and wealth. Sa Bisaya pa, ang regional integration kay panaghiusa sa mga nasod aron magkahiusa o magtinabangay para sa kalina o kalambuan. The whole world is moving forward integration in Asia. We have the ASEAN of the Association of Southeast Asia Nations, where countries like Philippines, Thailand, and Indonesia work together. They cooperate because they share common goals and challenges. That's why ASEAN is a good example for regional integration in action. So why do countries form regional associations? First reason, military defense. For example, NATO was formed to protect Europe from the threat of the Soviet Union. Second reason, economic crisis. Asian countries, together with China, Japan, and South Korea, created an emergency fund to help stabilize their economies after a financial crisis. Next, we have resources. Countries combine their resources to become stronger, like OPEC, which controls oil prices around the world. And lastly, protection of independence. Countries under the non-alignment movement did not want to side with either the capitalized or communist blocs. Gusto nila nga independent o neutral sila. To sum it up, globalization connects the whole world while regionalization focuses on smaller groups of countries working together. Both are important in building cooperation and development.
So now, we're gonna talk about the factors that are leading the Asian region into greater integration. So these factors has 5 of it and we're gonna start with the first one. First, integration has been market driven. Within Asia, there are a variety of systems, institutions, procedures, social relations, and infrastructures that are put in place for countries to engage in exchange. So the first factor is a market-driven integration. This means that the growing trade and business activities among Asian countries naturally push them to become more connected. Instead of relying on Western countries, Asian nations are trading more with each other, buying, selling, and investing within the region. For example, China exports electronic parts to Vietnam, and Vietnam assembles them into finished products that are then sold across Asia. This trade relationship builds interdependence and strengthens economic ties. In other words, Asia's markets are connecting on their own because countries realize that they can grow faster when they cooperate and trade with one another. Second, formal institutions such as the Asian Development Bank were established. Conceived in 1960s, Asian Development Bank promotes social and economic development in Asia. So, the second factor is the establishment of formal institutions that support cooperation and development. One of the best examples is the Asian Development Bank, which was established in the 1960s. So I guess we are all familiar naman no kung saan ang Asian Development Bank. But to clarify na lang, ang Asian Development Bank helps Asian countries by providing loans, funding, and technical assistance for development projects such as building roads, schools, and renewable energy systems. For instance, the ADB has supported several projects in the Philippines to improve transportation systems and reduce poverty. One example of it is the Malolos-Clark Railway Project in the Philippines, which is one of the major projects funded primarily by the Asian Development Bank, with additional support from the Japan International Cooperation Agency and the Philippine government. The Asian Development Bank provided the final tranche of a 1.45 billion loan in April 2025 to help complete this project. It is part of the government's North to South Commuter Railway or the NSCR system, which aims to improve public transportation, reduce travel time, and boost economic activity in Central Luzon. In short, the ADB can help us in many ways, especially if the government has a project that they want to build and the cost of it would be expensive. So the ADB can help us give their budget to us, and we will use it efficiently to build the project that the government proposes. And because of institutions like the Asian Development Bank, countries have a reliable partner that promotes shared growth and regional unity. Third, economic grants and overseas development assistance are made available by better Asian economies. For example, the Japanese International Cooperation Agency aims to work on human security and quality growth. So, the third factor is economic grants and development assistance. This happens when wealthier Asian countries provide financial and technical help to developing ones. It's a way for nations to lift each other up and build stronger partnerships. A good example is the Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA, JICA has helped the Philippines in constructing safer school buildings, providing disaster response training, and funding flood control systems. It also offers scholarships and training for Filipino engineers and government officials. So, through this kind of assistance, Asian nations not only improve their individual economies, but also strengthen trust and solidarity across the region. Fourth, production networks have expanded. Economies are mainly on comparative advantage through regional division of labor. So, the fourth factor is the expansion of production networks, which means that companies across Asia now work together to produce goods more efficiently. This is based on the principle of comparative advantage, which means each country focuses on what it does best, then trades with others to complete the production process. In simple terms, one country may make the materials, another assembles them, and another sells the final product. This system is called the regional division of labor. For example, the car company Toyota designs and develops vehicles in Japan, produces car parts in the Philippines and Indonesia, and assembles the final product in Thailand before exporting them across Asia. Similarly, Samsung in South Korea produces parts for electronic devices that are assembled in Vietnam and distributed globally. So, this system strengthens Asia's internal trade because countries depend on one another for production. It builds stronger supply chains, increases employment opportunities, and promotes economic interdependence, making regional cooperation even more important. Lastly, cooperation among the Asian and East Asian countries ensured the ASEAN Plus 3 Financial Ministers process that established two economic structures, the Shanghai Initiative and the Asian Bond Markets Initiative. The process aims to strengthen policy dialogue, coordination, and collaboration on common financial, monetary, and fiscal issues. So, the fifth factor is the financial and economic cooperation. It means that Asian countries are working together to maintain economic stability, especially after learning from the 1997 Asian financial crisis, which badly affected many Asian economies. So, to prevent similar crises, Asian members, together with China, Japan, and South Korea, also known as ASEAN Plus 3, established the Shanghai Initiative. This initiative allows member countries to borrow money from one another in times of financial trouble, ensuring that no nation has to face a crisis alone. Along with the CMI, there is also the Asian Bond Markets Initiative, which helps countries raise funds locally instead of relying on Western financial institutions. These efforts encourage policy coordination, information sharing, and regional stability. For example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Asian Plus 3 countries strengthened their cooperation by offering financial assistance and supporting one another's economic recovery programs. Through these systems, Asian nations have developed a strong safety net that promotes mutual support, monetary stability, and long-term growth. This financial cooperation ensures that Asia continues to progress together as one united region. To sum it all up, all these factors show that Asian countries are becoming more connected, not just geographically, but economically and socially as well.
Good day to everyone. I am Abygail Ralia, and I am going to discuss about the challenges to regionalism. So what is regionalism? First, let me briefly define about regionalism. So it is the process of dividing an area into smaller segments called regions. First is the resurgence of militant nationalism and populism. This involves the conflict between the NATO, the United States, and Vladimir Putin's anti-NATO movement. So some nations are turning inward, promoting strong nationalism and rejecting international alliances. Second is continuing financial crisis. The continuing crisis in the European region continues to lead the United Kingdom into exiting the European Union. So, economic instability in regions like Europe fuel these divisions. Example, ongoing financial issues contribute to the UK decisions to leave the European Union. So the third one is the conflict between sovereignty and regional stability. The Philippines had a difficulty in letting some countries support its condemnation of China's occupation in the West Philippine Sea because China had given great investment economic aid to these countries. So some countries hesitate to take a stand on regional issues if it threatens their own economic or political ties. The Philippines struggle to gain support against China's action in the West Philippine Sea because China offers strong financial aid to other nations. So last one is different vision to regionalism. Developed countries like US may only see regionalism as a tool for political democratization, but developing countries see regionalism as obstacle to economic globalization because public inquiry slows down its implementation. Developed countries may see regionalism as a way to promote democracy, while developing countries view it as a barrier to globalization because it's slowing down the progress due to public sovereignty.
Hi, I am Charmel Ragodos and I will be discussing about how do different Asian states confront the challenges of globalization and regionalization. First, ASEAN. ASEAN founded on August 8, 1967 by Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and the Philippines. ASEAN promoted economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the Southeast Asian region through multilateral cooperation. Tun Abdul Razak says, "We, the nation, the peoples of the Southeast Asia, must get together and form by ourselves a new perspective and a new framework for our region. It is important that individually and jointly we should create a deep awareness that we cannot survive for long as independent but isolated peoples unless we also think and act together, unless we prove by deeds that we belong to the family of Southeast Asian nations, bound together by ties of friendship and goodwill, and imbued with our own ideals and aspirations, and determined to shape our own destiny." He added that with the establishment of ASEAN, we have taken a firm and a bold step on that road. So there are 10 Asian member countries. These are Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Cambodia, Brunei, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. So next, energy and environmental concerns. It is a rapid economic growth for Asia has led to reliance on economic imports, increasing the importance of sea lanes and transformational roads. So Asian states needs to empower science and technology so that its citizens can eventually discover or create sustainable energy sources. Next, migration. Migration is the combination of rapidly growing populations in much of the developing world, increasingly porous national borders, and disparities in economic growth rates have sparked a dramatic increase in international migration. So, like Malaysia, other Asian countries need to deploy troops and naval vessels to limit the arrival of migrants. So next, organized crime and threats from non-state actors. So through the increasing ease of communication and transportation flows, the growing permeability of national borders, organized crime networks, terrorism, drugs, and weapon traffickers, and even human smugglers face fewer constraints on their activity. So Asian states must enable stricter laws on national security. The next is weakening regional institutions because of rift shifts between authoritarian member of ASEAN. So, flexible engagement allows for countries to comment on each other's internal policy matters. These ties can monitor economic indicators for signs of impending crisis. So, Asian countries need to preserve their sovereignty, meaning they should not allow other states to exert influence on their political decision. No. So next, shifts in balance of power. So shifts in balance of power is deepening economic integration gives rise to regional economic blocs that competes for power and influence. So shift in balance of power is Asian countries need to work together as one region instead of competing for power and rise against Western economic dominance. So, on it. The next one is expanding roles of the military. So, with lingering traditional threats, the prospect of increased internal tensions of Asian countries and the emergence of new security challenges will place high demand on regional militaries. Increasing demand for military will likely coincide with a period of declining resources. So, as to avoid the declining of resources, countries can adopt conscription methods similar to that of South Korea, wherein men are required to do compulsory military conscription for a few years and go back to their lives eventually. Next, globalization and democracy. So, authoritarian regimes suffer more from the effect of globalization than states that embrace transparency, accountability, and the rule of law because these are norms that are the backbone of democratic free market societies. So, Asian countries may have to adopt democracy in order to have an efficient economic system that is well criticized and is therefore well reviewed by the mass. So, in this way, the processes become more efficient. That's all. Thank you.